Have you ever wanted a sequel to the first part of Plants vs. Zombies? I mean, the game is already 15 years old and nothing new has been added since its release. Yeah, it's still alive, mods are being created, content is being made, but at its core, the game remains the same as it was 15 years ago. Have you ever thought that the game could use some kind of update, or maybe a DLC? Alright, I understand that you read the title and already know where I'm going with this. DLC mod is a mod for Plants vs. Zombies that adds 2 completely new locations, each with its own levels, mechanics, minigames, zombies, and a bunch of new plants. Everything's done in the vanilla style, and most importantly, is designed to be genuinely fun to play, as if the developers themselves decided to release an official DLC for their game. Today I'll be playing through this mod completely and showing you all of its content. But before we begin, I'd like to ask you to leave a like and subscribe to help promote this video. I won't keep you waiting any longer, let's start the review. We'll begin with the main menu. It doesn't differ much from the vanilla one, but there are a few additions. A crow that when clicked shows what was added in the last update, and a plaque with the names of the mod developers. Obviously that's not the most interesting part, so let's jump straight into adventure mode. If you have an empty save file, like I do, the game will immediately offer to skip to the new content. That's definitely convenient. I was most worried about having to replay the entire game just to access the new locations, but luckily the creators thought this through. Once you agree, the game takes you to 5-9, which plays like a normal level. However, 5-10 is where things get interesting. Instead of a battle against Dr. Zomboss, we get a conveyor belt level, similar to 1-10, 2-10, and so on. There's no need to dwell on this part for too long, let's move on to the first new location, the night rooftop. Let's start with the setting. While it may seem like a standard rooftop at first glance, it introduces new mechanics. Every 30 seconds, a blood moon event begins, lasting for 10 seconds. During this time, all zombies become significantly faster, they eat faster, move faster, and overall chaos ensues. It's a cool mechanic, but in the early levels it can be deadly, especially considering that no sun falls from the sky. Luckily, we got a new plan to help us, the Puff Catapult. The Puff Catapult costs 0 sun, shoots farther than a regular puff shroom, but slightly slower. Its main feature is that it can shoot across the corner of the rooftop, which is incredibly useful here. I used it in every level of the location because it was practically essential. But to balance things out, the zombies get a new ally as well, the Vampire Zombie. You can probably guess its ability. It heals itself when eating plants. Once it reaches a plant, trying to kill it with Puff Catapults becomes almost impossible. However, Melon Pults handle it quite easily, which is how I got through the first level and earned a new item, the water pot. That's right, now you can place water tiles in any location and plant anything you want on them. Of course, the best plant to place in the water pot is the cat tail. So I bought it from the shop using the in-game money I got for skipping levels and went to test it out. And it worked great! With this kind of defense, I had no issues whatsoever. The water pot is extremely powerful even on a rooftop. Meanwhile, I cleared the level and received another new plant. Yeah, plants are given just as frequently as in the original game. This time, it's the electric reed. This plant comes from PvZ 2. It shoots across 3 lanes, hitting multiple zombies per attack. While its damage isn't very high, it excels at crowd control. When used in large numbers, it can effectively clear waves of zombies. On the rooftop, it's even more useful since it ignores the roof's angles. I use this plant in almost every level. It was likely added to counter yet another new zombie, the Scarecrow zombie. This zombie is fairly normal on its own, but every 3-4 seconds, it summons crows. These crows have less health than regular zombies, but unlike PvZ 2's chickens, they can at least take a few hits before dying. That's where the electric reed comes in handy. After this level, we receive yet another new plant, the wind cabbage. This plant is identical to its version in PvZ 2, it knocks back and freezes zombies, making it a very useful tool. I won't spend too much time here, so let's move on to level 5. This level is worth discussing in detail since it introduces a new minigame. Remember the pool minigame where all the zombies were smaller, lighter, and faster? Well, this is the opposite. Now all zombies are giants, they move slower but have significantly increased health and eat plants much faster. The minigame was decently challenging but not overly difficult. For completing it, we get a new plant, the Fire Doomshroom. Or so I thought at first, but in reality its mechanics are completely different. This plant is essentially a spiky walnut with a fire element. Any zombie that approaches it takes fire damage while eating it. The mushroom itself has durability similar to a walnut, but unfortunately when eaten, it simply dies instead of releasing a fire line or doing anything similar. It's a fun plant, definitely usable, though if you place it in a pumpkin, it won't deal damage to zombies, which is a bit disappointing. By the way, this level is not just interesting because of this new plant, but also because of the one I bought in the shop. It's an upgraded version of the regular chomper, enhanced so that it can eat multiple zombies at once. And that's pretty much where its special features end. It's a cool plant, but there's not much more to say about it, so let's move on. After completing the level, we get another new plant. Meanwhile, I don't see any new zombie reinforcements at the next level, so let's jump straight to the new plant, Sea Star. And well, it's a starfish. So where should you place it? That's right, in the water. But apparently I didn't come to that simple logical conclusion, so since I didn't take water pots, I had to complete the level without using it. Oh well, we'll have the chance to use it in the next level. Or maybe not so much. The next level introduces us to the most dangerous enemy in this location, and possibly the entire PvZ game so far, the gladiator gargantuar. Huge armor, a massive axe, and intimidating appearance. I thought I was done for the moment I saw him, and imagine my surprise when I realized that, wow, I really do have psychic powers because I was 100% right. The zombie is the worst thing the developers could have come up with. First, he's incredibly tanky, and secondly, unlike a regular gargantuar who only destroys one plant in front of him, this idiot smashes plants in a 2 to 3 area, leaving no chance not just for his own lane, but everything around him. On top of that, something like a cabbage blower doesn't even push him back, and regular plants can't break through his armor. The first time I encountered him, I was shocked, and he even forced me to restart the level. At least in that first attempt, I finally understood how the Sea Star works. If I got its mechanics right, it tries to aim at the nearest zombie so that at least one of its projectiles hits. Again, it's a pretty fun plant, even though it's aquatic. After the last level, we also unlocked a solid new plant. It's a new type of pepper. Unlike the red one, this one doesn't clear a whole row, but instead damages everything in a single tile where it was placed. This means that if used correctly, it can deal double pepper damage to something like the gladiator gargantuar. And this time I actually managed to take him down and progress further. For completing this level, we got the final plant of this location, the electric pea shooter. I won't focus on it too much since it's pretty useless compared to something like the melon pole. I used it for one level, but after that its usefulness dropped to almost zero. By the way, after level 9, we finally faced the Zomboss. In this mod, he has been moved to a different location, which actually makes sense. If every other location has a nighttime version, it's strange that the roof never had a fully fledged one. So, what can I say about the Zomboss? The conveyor belt now includes more plants, and he occasionally spawns new types of zombies, but overall killing him is not particularly difficult. Compared to the regular Zomboss, I'd say he hasn't changed much in terms of difficulty. So while I'm taking him down in the background, let's summarize this location. The location is interesting. Almost every new level introduces either a new plant or a new zombie. And if there's not a new one, the location still provides fresh content, such as minigames. Overall, I'd rate its design 9 out of 10. Everything is close to perfect, but the one downside is the janky animation of the electro reed and the electric pea shooter, or rather their complete lack of animation. Zombies in other lanes take damage, but these plants don't have any visual effects to indicate that. Meanwhile, I finish off the Zomboss, receive a new plant, and move on to the next location, the Dark Forest. This location is pretty cool since it has multiple unique mechanics. First, the sun here is incredibly low. As explained by this, whoever this guy is, it's because the trees are so dense that barely any light gets through. There are also bushes. Their purpose is to block plant placement and hide zombies from attacks. It's incredibly annoying, and the only thing I can do is blow them up with cherry bombs or jalapenos. Luckily, we were given a new plant to counter these bushes, the bee shooter. His description says it fires homing bees, and you wouldn't believe all the crazy ideas I imagined. But in reality, its only function is being able to hit zombies behind bushes. That's it. Still a cool plant, but I was hoping for more. There's still more content to cover here because a new zombie appears as well. However, its mechanics haven't really been revealed yet, so I'll talk about it once it actually does something. For now, let's move on. In the next level, I decided to test out more premium plants, so I bought a bunch of random stuff. As a bonus, I also grabbed a new plant, or rather, another plant carried over from PvZ 2, Chard Guard. There's not much to say about this plant. Just like in PvZ 2, it knocks zombies back a couple of times before turning it into a shield until it's eaten. The real fun starts with the new premium plants. The first one I picked was Plasma Stump. It's basically an upgraded version of Fire Stump. Now every projectile that passes through it doesn't just deal a lot of damage. It deals, well, way too much damage. It can probably wipe out any zombie horde, but since the level only had fairly weak zombies, such an overpowered weapon wasn't really needed. Speaking of zombies, the one from the last level finally showed what it's capable of. Turns out its mechanic is that it blows away plants when it gets close to them. That's about it for this level. As a reward, we get Bok Choy. And since I got it, I decided to try out another premium plant. Vine. Vine is built from spikes, and its ability is to pull zombies in, hold them for about 5 seconds, and deal minor damage during that time. It's a cool plan, but not very useful. On the zombie side, we also get a new enemy, this lumberjack. He looks terrifying, and his mechanics are even scarier. When he reaches half HP, he drops his log and charges at my defenses with his axe. His axe instantly destroys plants and deals massive damage to walnuts. He's a dangerous zombie, but not too bad overall. However, since I decided to beat the level using only melee plants, he caused me quite a few problems. Then again, I'm not playing on some hardcore difficulty, so it wasn't a big deal. For completing the level, we unlock Aloe. Aloe heals the plant in front of it. Its usage is obvious, so in the next level, I picked another premium plant, Spiky Tollnut. Its mechanics is even more obvious than Aloe, so I won't go into detail. Instead, let's move on to level 5, which was really interesting because it was a minigame. Just like in the previous world, this minigame is unique. It takes place in a dark field with a single, very terrifying monster. It emerges, moving across different lanes, approaching our plants, and then just sucks. Yeah, at the start of the level it was introduced as some mysterious, terrifying Bigfoot, but in reality it dies easily and even showers me with gold upon defeat. The field in this minigame is different from usual. More precisely, the gameplay is different. Everything is covered in darkness, and the only source of light is our cursor. The minigame itself is fun, but I won't dwell on this too long. There are still 5 unique levels ahead of us. As a reward for completing the minigame, we get this shooter stump, which I for some reason decided not to take in the next level. Instead, I picked 2 new premium plants. What can I say about them? One of them is an absolute powerhouse, while the other is just decent. The just decent one is this upgraded Scaredy Shroom. Its ability is that it shoots faster when zombies approach. It's somewhat useful, but not exactly overpowered. The second plant, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It evolves from cactus, has a high cost, but it's entirely justified. This Cactus King obliterates everything in the field, shooting spikes all over the place. If you plant 2 or 3, you can practically forget about defense. I cleared this level effortlessly and was rewarded with this shrinking violet. I won't talk much about it. Just like in PvZ 2, it shrinks zombies. Instead, let's discuss what Shooter Stump actually does and the new zombie appearing in this level. Shooter Stump is just a stronger version of P-Shooter, with a chance to land a critical hit on zombies. As for new zombie, it seems to be a fisherman. Unlike other zombies, it has regular HP, but its mechanic works at a much longer range. It randomly captures a plant on the field in a net, completely disabling its attack. I barely noticed this ability, most likely because using the Cactus King wasn't the best idea for this level. Whatever, moving on, in level 8, we get a new insta-kill plant, Cluster Lemon. It's expensive, but its effect is awesome. It explodes in a 3-3 area 3 times, each time jumping to a different spot. It's a cool plant, and I used it frequently to destroy bushes or large zombie hordes. Zombies also get a new addition, this Shotgun Zombie. Its mechanic is pretty straightforward. It walks forward, shoots, keeps walking, shoots again, and just keeps repeating this cycle. His raccoon head doesn't provide much defense, so he dies quickly to my powerful plants and never caused any real problems. In fact, I barely even noticed him. For completing the level, we unlock the final plant of this world, meaning we move on to the final standard level. It greets us with various zombies from this world in 4 waves. I won't discuss difficulty here. Let's instead talk about the upgraded Ice Pea-Shooter and a new plant. Both are quite overpowered. The upgraded Ice Pea-Shooter shoots ice chunks that constantly freeze any zombie they hit, while the new plant, Cheerleader, occasionally boosts all plants in a 3-3 area. Not on standard levels, but later on, I tested it with the Cactus King. The results? Absolute insanity. Buffed Cactus Kings become unstoppable. After this level, there's a standard conveyor belt level where I'll summarize the mod. If I were to rate this mod, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Everything is really well done, but I'd subtract 2 points for the large number of plants taken directly from PvZ 2. Luckily, the unique premium plants somewhat make up for that. Breaking things down further, the zombies here were pretty interesting. My favorite was the gladiator gargantuar. As for the plants, the obvious winner is the Cactus King. Its power and concept are just amazing. Let me know what you think about this mod in the comments. If this video does really well, I'll also cover the minigames in this mod. There seem to be quite a few of them. I also wanted to say thank you for 2,000 subscribers in the channel and probably already 100,000 views in the video about the adult version of Plants vs. Zombies. Thank you for your support and for watching it till the end. This has been Slon. See you next time.